Hey, this is Dave Pryor. Welcome to the Global Agility and Innovation Summit podcast interviews. Today, I am here with a very great person, Jim Highsmith, one of the original gangsters of Agile. Jim, thank you for taking time out of your day.
Thanks, Dave.
So I'm going to read my little intro. Hopefully, I'll get all this right. So Jim is officially retired from gainful employment, as he calls it, as an executive consultant at ThoughtWorks as of 2021. But your unretirement work, you're labeling that as industry advisor, and you're working on a bunch of different things, including reimagining Agile, which we're about to talk about, business agility, and Agile adaptive leadership with the C-suite. Before ThoughtWorks, you worked as a director at Cutter Consortium's Agile project management practice. You describe yourself as an adventurer, a catalyst, a storyteller, and obviously you are one of the 17 people in the room that weekend that gave all of us jobs. So on behalf of all of us, thank you for all your work.
You're welcome.
So what got you back to the table to reimagine Agile?
Well, I retired from ThoughtWorks, and then COVID hit.
Okay.
And I was sort of trying to figure out what I was going to do next.
Okay.
And I kind of had in the back of my mind for a while, writing a memoir. And so I started working on that. And the more I worked on it, the more I thought, maybe this had a little wider applicability.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a publisher to say that, they would like to publish it. So it's a historical memoir of my 60 years in software development.
Okay.
And so part of it is my initial foray when I worked on the Apollo program in the 1960s, and then kind of a pre-Agile movement. What happened before the Agile manifesto that led up to that?
Okay.
What happened after that? Sort of a historic history of the Agile manifesto and the Agile movement.
Wow.
And one of the things that I thought was that I'm not going to try to predict the future, but I wanted to help people prepare for the future by understanding a little bit about the history of software development.
Okay, so you got to know where you're coming from to figure out where you're going.
Right. And so then I've gotten more involved in the Agile community, and I worked pretty hard on the book. And so then I started getting more involved in the Agile community and found some things that I liked and some things that I didn't like. So I thought, let's kind of correct some of that.
Okay.
And I wanted to emphasize the positive. I didn't want to say everything was okay with Agile, but I wanted to say there are still some positive things about Agile, and there are some disappointments, surely.
There's enough people talking about those, though.
Yeah, and so I wanted to talk about the accomplishments.
Okay. What do you think is the like one or two really great things that have been accomplished by the Agile movement since you guys got together?
Well, in the beginning, and I think as far as today, all the way up to today, it was about two things. It was about performance. It was about delivering software in the beginning, but it became more about delivering products or outcomes or value.
Yeah.
So performance to help the business deliver value, and then to provide a better workplace for people, more healthy workplace for people. And those are the two goals. And I've always thought that it was pretty ironic. A group of 17 basic techies, and there were a couple of us in there with some management experience, but it was 17 basic techies.
Right.
In the manifesto, which the first value was about individuals and interactions and collaboration.
Yeah. Well, I said this is a question that I keep asking about this. I think about where traditional project management, Frederick Taylor, like all that stuff came from. They solved a problem that existed in the 1900s.
Right.
Agile was a remedy for a problem we were experiencing probably 70s through the 90s. Not that it's gone away, but that problem it's like the problem keeps adapting to become a different problem.
Yeah.
What do you think? What problem are we trying to solve now?
Let me go back to the problem we were trying to solve for the Agile manifesto.
Okay.
And so one of the things that happened then, and something that doesn't get enough recognition, is in 1995 to 2000, the internet started exploding. And that did a very interesting thing that most people don't think about.
Yeah.
We changed the whole focus of software development from building internal systems to building external systems for the customer. And there were so many people that were doing it already. They had to increase the speed because everybody else was increasing the speed.
Yeah.
And they were dealing in an area where they didn't have much experience. So, for example, one of the things that did is it elevated the role of product managers.
Yeah.
Because we needed somebody in the development pipeline that understood the customer, understood the product. And so you'll see a whole product management movement that's blossomed over the last 10 or so years. It wasn't there before this. So I think the Agile movement helped solve the problems caused by the internet and moving from internal to external systems.
Yeah.
Now we see an even bigger wave of technology with the artificial intelligence and some other things like Web3, blockchain, cloud. And so I think what we need to do now is extend what we talked about in Agile 24 years ago into this new era. So the reimagining Agile movement is back to basics and forward to the future. And they're both components of that.
Okay. Back to the basics of celebrating the collaboration that occurs between smart people who get together and have a clear idea of where they're trying to get to, right?
Yeah, and look at some of the values. They value collaboration, value individuals and their skills, they value delivery of valuable products, and flexibility. And aren't those things that we need today also? If you look at the core values, they're sort of needed today. And that's why I think agility is going to be one of the key skills that people are going to need in this AI era.
So you compared it to the dawn of the internet a little bit, right? And I think about that all the time because I do feel like it's like that all over again, except you also mentioned blockchain, Web3, other technologies that are as disruptive as AI. Maybe not in the front of everyone's minds right now, but it's almost like there's 5 different internet booms occurring at the same time. And the technology is supposed to serve all of them. It's a bigger problem now, don't you think?
Yeah. And so one of the futurists that I looked at to give a presentation at South by Southwest talked about a super trend.
Okay.
Biotech, artificial intelligence, and an ecosystem of connected things.
Mm-hmm.
And with those 3 things together, we're going to generate a super cycle of change as opposed to just a major pivot. And so when you hit the internet, you basically have that one technology. Now you've got several technologies that have potential for changing the way organizations run and individuals relate to the world.
Yeah. So what's interesting and scary to me about what you just said is you're using weather terminology to describe the way things are changing. And I'm wondering if we're headed towards constant cyclones and tornadoes and hurricanes followed by a barren, arid landscape of technology.
Well, I think if you read through some of the people, like Mustafa Suleiman, who was the head of one of the big AI companies, DeepMind, and is now the head of AI for Microsoft. And he wrote a book recently called The Coming Wave, where he talks about these 3 different technologies and how they're going to interact to create this big wave. And so he and along with other people in this area say there's an excitement about what AI can do for us, and we're terrified about what it might do.
Yeah.
And so we're about trying to balance exhilaration and terror all at the same time. And it's going to be that way for several years. And I liken what's going on to a football game. And the fact that you're going to have, you as an organization and as a person are going to have to play both offense and defense. You can't stand on the sidelines. No company can say, I'm not going to participate in that. Because just for example, cybersecurity.
Yeah. You'll participate one way or another.
That's right. If you don't beef up your cybersecurity, somebody is going to,
show you why you should have.
So you got to at least do the defensive, but I don't know how to do defense if I don't understand the offense.
Okay.
So what I tell people is, you've got some time.
Yeah.
But not as much as you'd like.
Okay. So with kind of unpacking this stuff and looking at reimagining, I'm sure there's a lot of people that are wondering if anybody who was in that room that weekend um, feels like there's something you got wrong or something you wish you had done differently. Is there something you wish was included that isn't
Well,
part of that?
if you think about it, back at that point in time,
Yeah.
the methodology was basically called lightweight methodology.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't like the word lightweight. So we were trying to come up with something else. But
Okay.
it was a very small group. I mean, it was a very small group of people who were doing iterative development and some things that were called agile at the time. The community was tiny compared to what it is today. And so decided that we leave some stuff out, of course. And what I like to tell people is that the core values are still there, but there may need to be extensions. I've seen extensions for project management that have a set of project management values that are compatible to the manifesto values, but they are in the wording of a project manager.
Yeah.
There's another organization that does the same thing for marketing. They have a set of values or principles that are agile in nature, but they're not the same words that are used in the manifesto.
Yeah.
So I think those extensions are really the continuation of the agile value of adapting over time to the new situation. And I'm afraid what a lot of people are doing today is they look at what I call prescriptive agility.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't need the adjective, but they're very dogmatic and about you must do this, you must do this, you must do that. Whereas the Agile Manifesto really talked about adaptive agility. You're always adapting to the situation.
Okay. So I want to ask you another question. I asked John Kern the same question. When I'm teaching classes to people that are coming up into the workforce now, many of them have not worked in waterfall. And I find it very difficult to teach Agile to people that don't know waterfall because in my head, it's the fix for waterfall. Even though I am a PMP that taught PMP certification, there's a lot of problems with that approach, and it corrects a lot of those problems. For that crowd of people who have grown up without knowing what Agile was fixing, is there something you wish you could just like instantly implant in the minds of all those people so that they would something that they would understand about Agile that they might be missing just because they don't have the background?
Well, I hate push it up, but
Go ahead.
Chapter 3 and 4 in the book is Wild West Agile.
Okay.
Revolutions in software development.
Okay.
And so what I do is I set the background for Agile and talk about why waterfall existed and why it came into existence. And at the time, it was a good thing.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, what happened is that somewhat similar to Agile, the early 80s is structured development, but it was structured techniques and tools and practices. And those got subsumed into these large monolithic methodologies by the end. And then they had case tools to try to augment that.
Yeah.
And so I think that we're seeing the same thing now in terms of the evolution of the Agile market. One of the things I attribute this to Pete Barron's a friend of mine. Came up with this analogy. Do you go to the movies? Do you like movies? Yeah. Do you watch movies on streaming TV like Netflix? Yeah. Did you used to watch movies on DVDs? Yeah. Did you used to watch movies on VCRs? Yeah. So the content was still movies. But the packaging was different. So my position is that things like practices, like refactoring, stand-ups, spread playing are practices.
Yeah.
And then you have a mindset, which is an agile adaptive mindset. And then you have methodologies. And methodologies are the packaging.
Okay.
As opposed to the content.
Yeah.
And so you have the content
mechanism.
like XP, or you have content like SAFe, or you have content like Scrum. And those are all packaging of practices into a methodology. And I think a lot of times we argue about the packaging rather than the real content.
Yeah. Okay. Well, just kind of sticking with that for a second. There are lots of people out there constantly claiming that Agile is dead, Agile is over, Agile doesn't work. I'm kind of positioning you as a parent of Agile. Are you worried about Agile? Do we need to send Agile off to boarding school?
A little bit, and that's why I was part of the starting of this reenacting Agile, because I think it still has validity. And I think what has happened is that have there been some disappointments? Yes, there have. And I am disappointed in some of the things that have happened. But if you look at major transformations over the last 25 years, if you look at the lean manufacturing movement, if you look at the digital transformation movement, if you look at the big data movement, Agile has at least 2 to 3 times as much success rate as any of those transitions. And so if you look at it in terms of how major transitions have gone over the last 25 years, Agile leads the pack. Does that mean we got everything right? No, because 25 to 30% were dissatisfied with Agile. But they did have a lot of voice. So one of the things the Reimagine Agile is trying to do is to get a positive voice out here, but not ignore the disappointments. I wrote a LinkedIn post not long ago about what I thought the root causes of Agile disappointments were. And it wasn't about this methodology or that methodology. It was about people stuff.
Yeah. I do feel sort of like Agile's a good kid, but it needs a hug.
You're like,
So if people want to get involved, I know part of what you're trying to do with Reimagine Agile is to get people involved, to get, the next generation of folks on board with it. What's the best way for them to do that?
Well, there are 2 ways, really. There's a Reimagining Agile group on LinkedIn. And then there's a Reimagining Agile website that we're working on. It's not there yet, but it's starting to have some stuff up. So we just are trying to get that out there. Obviously, with volunteer effort, it takes a little more time sometimes.
Yeah, but they can go join the LinkedIn group now and participate that way, and also come to the Agile conference this summer and see.
The Agile conference will be a panel of the 4 people who've sort of launched this effort. Sandy Augustine and Don Curry and Heidi Busso.
Yeah, cool. And what if they want to get in touch with you?
LinkedIn is probably the best place.
Okay, and they can find the book on Amazon?
Yep.
All right. And the title again, Wild West Agile, right?
Wild West Agile.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. And thank you for all the work that you've done. I mean,
well, thank you.
You impacted millions of lives with what you guys did. So on behalf of all of us who have jobs because of you, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Enjoy it, David.